Hi. Okay, today we're going to learn one of the decreases if you're following along with your first two color brioche pattern that I suggested in one of our last videos. I'm not giving you the pattern, but I am giving you the stitches, which the stitches are not copyrighted on this pattern. These are in the public domain, so I can show you how to do those. So if you're doing that and you've come to the point where you have to make your increases and decreases, they're done in the same round. And what I have done is I've done exactly what she said. I have put my stitches, the first one is 3 stitches from the beginning and then you go around. So what I'm going to show you today is, it's called the brioche right-leaning stitch. And I'll do it a couple times for you. I'm also going to do the brioche left and the increase, but those will be in separate videos so that you can go ahead, if you do some of the things that I suggest you do, and one is to keep some scrap yarn from other projects that you've done and practice. And this is where practicing this stitch would make it just gel in your brain. So let's go ahead and start it. So the first thing we do, I'm ready to do that stitch. And in order to do that, think of it this way. When you're regular knitting, you can do a right leaning and a left leaning with either knit 2 together. Excuse me, I just had some tea. Knit 2 together or slip slip knit. And so this is basically the same, except that you have more stitches and more yarn involved. So let's go ahead and do the brioche this is the brioche right leaning. So of course we're knitting, so we bring our yarn to the front and we go ahead and slip that first stitch. Now you're going to ignore that because that's going to actually become a stitch on the next row. Something that might help to distinguish what you're doing is, I don't have any of my regular stitch markers, but you could put a stitch marker here and then take it off when you're finished with this. Or what I do is I use my finger and thumb a lot to do this. So in order to do this one, what we do, we've got this one, and you're going to ignore this one. This is a completely separate stitch, the one that you just slipped. So what we're going to do is, you have a brioche stitch right here with the X. So you're going to slip that knitwise, which means you take your yarn as if you're going to knit it and slip it onto the right-hand needle. Okay, now I'm keeping this finger to hold this stitch away so that I can remember which stitches I'm using. Then you're going to have a single with the cuff. We're going to go ahead and knit that, and see how I put my thumb there just to kind of keep these separate. And I'm working back and forth. So this is the one I just knit. I don't know if you can see that. That's the one I just knit, the first one to the left. So I'm going to take this X stitch and I'm going to pass it over that stitch. That's the first part. Now we take that stitch that we've just knit and passed over and we put it back on our left hand stitch. Now you can keep tightening this up, not too much, but just enough so that you kind of don't have, you know, that much yarn on that stitch. Okay, let's tighten it up. So the next thing you want to do is you want to look for your next X stitch, which is right here, and you want to take that as if to purl it, but you're going to pass it over my green stitch. And what I try to do is I try to push with this finger to get that yarn, and then I try to grab it with my thumb so that it stays on the needle. Now this is completely up to you if you do that. It helped me. So then I take, that's already connected on a stitch, and then I push that stitch back over. So I've gone ahead and done one of the right leaners. I'm going to come back and do the next one so you can follow along twice. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, so here we are ready to do our brioche right. So again, I have to pass one stitch and ignore it. And then we slip our brioche stitch, which is a double stitch, double yarn. And then our cuffed stitch is the one that we knit. And then we slip that like that. Okay. Then we're going to put this green one back on to our left hand. It's a single stitch. And we are going to take the next double stitch and pass it over our green stitch. Now for me, it's easiest if I just push it and grab it with my thumbnail so that it doesn't slip off while I'm slipping things. And then I put it back on my left hand needle. So you've done 2 of these. So go ahead and practice these before you try a pattern. It really helps if you practice your stitches and you get familiar with what you're doing. Okay, I will see you in our next segment. Bye-bye.